Good morning, Vanguard. Good morning to all the parents. I have to say, I got very teary-eyed just watching and listening to David. He didn't tell us about the speech. Well, today is a very special day, and I'd like to honor first and foremost Vanguard Academy itself. You know, I first met Erickson Perez many years ago when I was looking for a school for my son David. And One World hadn't even started yet. It was very new, but they didn't go to this school, right? And Erickson's reputation preceded him. He was the known expert in the field when it came to SPED. And that's very important because it's very difficult to get the right teachers with the right heart and the right skills in this country. There are very few, and the few that they are leave the country. And I'd have to say that with Vanguard, what I'm really grateful for is Erickson and the team of teachers, because I've seen how my son has bloomed. My son actually graduated grade school and high school from Word Lab. And he was supposed to move to college. But because of the pandemic, it became very difficult to find the right school. And that's the one thing I realized about the Philippines. They don't know how to really teach and treat our children. When you say, my kid is in the autism spectrum, they don't know what kind of support our children need. So, by God's grace, I found Erickson again after many years. I had lost his number. I didn't know how to reach him, but I contacted him. And I know the school is really a K-12 school with high school. K-12 is with high school. And there was no college program in Vanguard. So I had actually asked Erickson to start a certificate course for visual arts because I felt it was a gap in the education system for our children. You know, when you have a child with special needs, you don't have the same expectations compared to your other children, and I'm sure you know that. In fact, you have a new set of joys and set of fulfillment when it comes to raising a child with needs. Suddenly, the smallest things become monumental, right? The smallest steps become monumental. The definition of joy and happiness and what makes you proud becomes so different. Actually, when you have a child with special needs, it's you who changes. It's not the child. That's what happened to me. I always say that I have never understood what unconditional love is, at least in the earthly sense. You know, when we love our husbands or wives, it's conditional. They have to treat us well, right? But not a child with special needs. In my own life, and I'm sure you feel the same way, I have never encountered a person with no malice, who cannot lie, who just has kindness. Absolute, alam mo yung walang masamang buto sa katawan, except our own children. They are so incapable of hurting anyone with intention. And I think at home, that's what's changed. We all changed. My parents changed. My sister changed. It's because of exposure to David. And I believe it is that way in our own families. And that's why I feel it's so important really to highlight what Vanguard does more than anything. I don't think that the teachers in the Philippines, especially SPED teachers, get the recognition they really deserve. it's not just skill, but it takes a lot of heart and commitment to teach a child with needs. They don't learn as fast, they don't learn as quick, they don't learn in the simplest ways, and yet you have teachers that make sure that they improve each and every day. And I personally consider them my heroes. I have been so close with all of David's teachers, David's tutors, because I recognize that my son will not be the person he is today if it were not for the teachers. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a special village to raise a special child. And I don't want us to take it for granted. So first, I want all the Vanguard teachers to stand up. And I think bravo to all of you. Please stand up to all the Vanguard teachers. You may not have what the world defines as success or wealth in that sense of the word, but I want you to know that your work does not go unappreciated. That even if in this world you may feel, why aren't we getting more compared to what the world values as success? Believe me when I tell you that in heaven, the reward will be something you cannot imagine. So thank you. Thank you. You can sit down. So my next message is to the parents in the room. And really this is a personal advocacy that I have. Many people ask me, how did David become this way? So David is now 19 years old. When he was diagnosed with autism at 2.5, of course, my husband and I were very depressed and we didn't know what to do because a developmental pediatrician said, there is no cure, there is no treatment, right? And there really is no cure, right? We know that. But being a journalist, what I did was I got off the beaten track and really researched and looked for other ways to treat my son. And this is now my message to the parents here. The teachers cannot do everything. Sometimes what happens is we look for a school and we expect the teachers to do everything. And the fact of the matter is they cannot. I always say this. The body is like a machine. It can only absorb if the machine is running well. I say that to many parents. And for me, it is a personal advocacy because I have seen it in my son's life. David could not express himself as a child. I hope, David, you don't mind that I'm sharing this. He was very violent, and you would not think that David could become the child he is today. But the one thing we did at home, starting from 3 years old, was a very strict, clean diet and biomedical treatment. I know this is quite controversial for some parents. But I just want to say that we have seen it in the long run work wonders, and I would have to say short of a miracle really, that takes years to see. But why is it difficult for many parents? Because it takes discipline and commitment. So there's no shortcut to it. We become better parents because of the commitment we need to put in raising our special child. I don't see the word special child as, when David was diagnosed with autism, my mother used to tell me, don't tell people he has autism. don't say he's special. And I was so against that because I always felt that there was freedom in speaking the truth, that there was freedom in letting people know what you were going through and what your son was going through as well. And that was stigma from the old generation. That I am so happy that we can take a part in erasing that stigma. And that's how it should be. Which is why I love Eric's son. Because Eric really pushes for inclusion. Inclusion. We cannot have our kids living in a different world. One day, we will not be alive. So we really have to prepare them, along with the community, our relatives, our closest friends, to live in a world that has gifted and special kids. That is the kind of world we have to live in. One with compassion, with kindness, with love, more than just tolerance. Tolerance is not the kind of world we want. What we want is a world where we see each other with eyes of love. And that's what I feel, Vanguard, in your own way, you are doing. And I have to say, just seeing the kids speak, play music, it really warms my heart because it really focuses on what our kids can do more than what they can't do. And that for me is the kind of everyday miracles we need to see. So first of all, to all the teachers and the parents here, it's a day of celebration for all of us. Because I really want to say that it's in moments like this where I really see that God is alive. So thank you so much for inviting me to speak, and God bless you all.